A couple of years ago, I made a video talking about Cassandra Cain as Batgirl and how she was the best Batgirl in my opinion, and I still stick by that statement. However, while Barbara is probably the most popular Batgirl and Cassandra Cain the most efficient, I believe the most underrated is Stephanie Brown's criminally short stint as Batgirl. So to get where Stephanie becomes Batgirl, we have to go back a little. Stephanie's father was a crime boss and she knew it, and growing up she wanted nothing to do with that life. She began her crime-fighting adventures with Tim Drake, who was Robin at the time, and they basically worked together to both be heroes and then turned into boyfriend and girlfriend. And while they did this, Stephanie took on the mantle of spoiler, and while it was a cool costume and still one I favor, she felt more like Robin's sidekick than her own real character, which is a shame for a personality as big as Stephanie's. So flash forward some when Tim didn't want the Robin mantle for a bit after the death of so many people around him. So Stephanie wanted to prove herself in the best possible way and began to work with Batman. Batman, losing his connection with a lot of his family, decided to let her become the next Robin. And this was a big deal, as besides The Dark Knight Returns, we never really had a Robin in the main continuity up until this point that was female, and her costume was even great to boot. But similar to most things in Stephanie's crime-fighting career, this too would be cut short thanks to an event called War Games. This is an event that let Black Mask take center stage in Gotham after Stephanie, by accident, kind of pushed a turf war, which created a gigantic war within Gotham. Mobsters were going crazy. Black Mask kidnapped Stephanie at one point and tortured her to near death. And while Stephanie did eventually escape this psychotic piece of shit in his clutches, she was beaten and bruised so bad that she couldn't handle it and died. Well, this is comics though, and she was dead until she wasn't dead. It's retconned as quick as the death itself happened, but no real surprise here because while reading this wasn't well received and nobody really liked this, so I don't blame them for retconning this whole death for Stephanie Brown. So when Stephanie returned, there was kind of this void. She couldn't be Robin because, well, Tim was Robin again. She couldn't be Batgirl because, well, Cassandra Cain was still Batgirl. She could be spoiler, but it didn't feel like the proper progression. Plus, everybody in that universe wanted her out of the crime-fighting business due to what happened to her previously. However, when Cassandra Cain hung up the mantle after the supposed death of Bruce Wayne, she felt like she couldn't represent that symbol anymore, and she wanted out of the picture. And this is when Stephanie Brown reluctantly took her costume and began to wear it. Thus, Stephanie Brown as Batgirl was born. The first arc of Stephanie Brown's Batgirl is seeing her try her very best to be Cassandra Cain. She had the same outfit, she was trying the same fighting style, which was going in quick and hard and scaring the shit out of people and doing everything on her own. When Barbara got wind that there's a new Batgirl, she straight away figures out it's Stephanie and has not so nice words for her, leaving Stephanie feeling even more alone, but it also pushes her resolve to fight even harder to prove herself. And this is what makes Stephanie unique in my opinion. Barbara had a father who was a cop, and a mission to protect others was always with her. Cassandra Cain was crafted on becoming the ultimate weapon and ultimately decided to use her abilities to help the greater good. And Stephanie, well, Stephanie had a shitty dad, sure, but a lot of people have bad dads. But other than that, she went on her life as a normal girl, or could have. However, the sense of wanting to protect and help others was always a huge attribute to her kind nature. So when she does fight back against Scarecrow at the end of her first arc and proves why she does that she will fight against the darkness that Gotham creates around its innocence, she herself is speaking to the readers as well, letting them know she doesn't have to do this, but she must, at least in her mindset, which makes her a character you're already rooting for. Another great thing that we get on display in this run is how Stephanie works as a team member. I mean, sure, Barbara had Batman and Robin, but she also felt kind of independent a lot of the time. Cassandra Cain did work with others on occasion, but she can also solo 90% of her enemies, so there was no need for her to do so. Stephanie might not be as strong physically as Cassandra or as smart as Barbara, but she has that go-lucky attitude that contributes to her overall presence. On top of that, she is a team player. She's working and helping both Damian and Dick early in her career as Batgirl, to once again teaming up with Tim Drake as Red Robin, and always working very closely with Oracle, aka Barbara. A team player at all times made a refreshing change for the Batgirl mantle. See, Stephanie Brown's real issue doesn't lie in the character itself. In fact, I believe in time, with enough comic issues written and stories told, she could potentially be a lot of people's most liked Batgirl. No, see, the real issue is every time Stephanie does get a spotlight on her, things change rather quickly. Spoiler was always in the shadows of Robin, and when she became Robin herself, it was quickly resolved by having her killed off in a pretty brutal fashion. And then she is finally brought back and given one of the biggest mantles in the Bat family, Batgirl. It is taken away thanks to the much-loved New 52 era. And yes, I am being sarcastic, by the way, at the end there. Barbara has the longest running stint on Batgirl easily, from prior to even before she was shot by the Joker, and then becoming Oracle, who is also a great character for her in my opinion, even better than Batgirl. She still had a lot of years as Batgirl. Then, she had even more so when New 52 began. She got the ability back to use her legs and become Batgirl again for not only the New 52 run, but also the Rebirth run and the Birds of Prey Rebirth. So she had years and years and years of being Batgirl under her belt to this current day. And Cassandra Cain, my favorite, also had a very lengthy Batgirl run, over 50 issues, and then some short minis that followed after. And even now, with the current Batgirl series that ended, it was both Batgirls, Stephanie and Cassandra. Cassandra definitely felt like she was more the Batgirl hero, while Stephanie was still dressed up as a more updated spoiler suit. Cass's Batgirl got far more of a spotlight and time period, and she finally got to prove herself, and I think that's why she's such a fan favorite, at least for me. But I wouldn't be quick to dismiss Stephanie Brown as Batgirl. While it was only a little over 20 issues, it was a damn fine 20 issues. In fact, if I'm being honest, from someone who has read over 250 plus issues of Batgirl now, spanning multiple users, Stephanie Brown's run is one of the most well-written and fun runs of the entire character mantle, which almost makes it more infuriating that it had to end so quickly. Brian Q. Miller and Lee Garbett, the two leads of this series who made Stephanie into a goddamn force to be reckoned with, if I'm being honest. Quickly establishing her drive as Batgirl, showcasing her teamwork effort in an excellent fashion, and her ability to adapt to fighting situations. On top of that, Stephanie's evolution as a character herself, wanting more for herself, is an also major plus in the character development. The art too, just cartoony enough to make it fun, but also excellent character designs, got a little dark at points, and I have to say, the Batgirl outfit, one of my favorite around. So when I say underrated or most underutilized Batgirl, it's not a diss on the character herself. I actually love Stephanie as Batgirl, and as a huge fan of Cassandra Cain as Batgirl and one of my favorite characters of all time, I actually wouldn't mind if Stephanie retook the mantle for a while to get to prove herself again. If you haven't read Brian Miller's Batgirl, do yourself a favor and do so. All you need to know is the slight background that I gave you before we got into the Batgirl series of what happened to her to jump right into this run, because my god, this run is so good. It's just such a shame that it got cut short. While you might have had one of the shorter stints as Batgirl Stephanie, you, in my eyes, have proved yourself as a great character, and hopefully we get more of this quality of Batgirl one day for Stephanie Brown. I hope you guys liked this video. I certainly loved making it. I love to put a spotlight on characters and what they did and why they mean a lot to me. And Stephanie Brown deserves that spotlight just as much as some of the other ones I talked about, like Kyle Renner and, of course, Cassandra Cain. So, if you guys like Stephanie Brown, let me know what you thought of her series. Or did you like her better as spoiler? Or maybe you like the current Batgirls run. Let me know below of your favorite moments with Stephanie, runs, series, books, whatever you want to call them. And I hope you guys liked this video. Hit that like button. If you love me, hit that subscribe button. Go check out some of my other awesome comic videos. And everyone else, have a wonderful day.